everybody, I'm Vera Stewart and welcome to the VeryVera Show. Welcome to 2023. We are doing all Southern ingredients and Southern techniques this season, and today is no different. We're going to start with an applewood sausage in one of our recipes, apple cider, and then it wouldn't be Southern if you didn't do grits. So all of these dishes will come together to showcase another great Southern technique, a brunch as a way of entertaining. I'm so excited, we are launching my next cookbook at the end of the show today. VeryVera Cookbook Occasions will be celebrated at the end of the show today, and you can go to our website and order it. So we've got 4 recipes that we're going to make today. We're going to start with the stuffed French toast, easy to make, great for a brunch. A zucchini bread, which you can have any time of day. A Southern brunch pastry puff, it's a bite-sized piece. And then we're going to top it off with a Shimmering champagne cocktail. So in celebration of the book coming out, let's get started with that stuffed French toast. All right, so brunch is the combination of breakfast and lunch. And you know, it's a word that honestly I didn't really start hearing much about till the late 70s or 80s when people were really doing a lot of brunch entertaining. I didn't grow up with brunch as part of our regular routine, but it was actually coined in 1895, and it was a way to kind of celebrate that, you know, after church or after a hunting exercise or something like that, that people would have lighter food, it would be more sociable, it would be things that could be easily picked up, not real heavy with lots of meats. And you know, it's also a very economical way to entertain. Through the years with my catering business, and you'll learn more about this in my new cookbook, weddings were sometimes suggested as a brunch because you could do so much more with the food on a smaller budget. So this recipe for stuffed French toast is really delicious. It's easy to make and it's very economical. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and sprayed my 9x13 pan. I have cut my French bread into just little small cubes. I've put half of it in the pan. Now I'm going to add diced cream cheese to that. So that's the stuffing part. And one tip that I will give you about this, if you'll go ahead and cut those little cubes, then lay them on a sheet pan and get them really cold, they won't stick together quite as much when you get ready to do this for the dish. You're also it's going to be helpful if you've got a young person helping you that the cream cheese is not everywhere. All right, so we'll put, and this is a 8-ounce block of cream cheese. And with any recipe, anytime you do something, you can make it your own. If you want more than just cream cheese as the stuffing, there's no reason why you couldn't order or use a preserve or a jelly there. So now I'm gonna add the rest of the cubed bread. You know, and this is gonna actually soak. So even if the bread has started to get a little bit stale, maybe something that you had left over, you thought you were going to use with spaghetti and you didn't do it, you could use this. All right, so now I've got my eggs, my half and half, melted butter, and I'm going to whisk all of this together. So my melted butter. And then this uses maple syrup, and I just love it when I can work with my friends in Vermont at Run Amok. This syrup is so tasty. It's just the best. So we'll just whisk this together. And then this is gonna sit overnight or for at least several hours to get that bread good and soaked. And you know, just try to get this eggs whisked up so that you don't have any big pieces of egg yolk. So let me just check this. Then we're gonna be pouring this on it. I've preheated my oven to 325. Let me get this poured on here. Evenly distributed across. We're gonna push this down with a spatula just to get that good and soaked. But we went ahead and did one yesterday so I could show you the next step. So let me swap this out. So I've got one already done. We're gonna unwrap it. The oven is preheating, and you see how this is kind of mashed down now because it's soaked overnight. Now this is where my Pearson Farm pecans really come in handy, because of course this is optional, but you don't want to eat this without these pecans, because just the toasted nut flavor in this is going to be really, really good. So I'm going to pop this in the oven at 325. It's going to cook for about 35 or 40 minutes. And when we come back from the break, we're going to get started on a zucchini bread that has a secret ingredient. And I want you to be thinking about what that might be. We'll see you back in just a minute. Welcome back, everybody, and if you're just joining me, we are celebrating the launching of my next cookbook, the VeryVera Cookbook Occasions. I'm making brunch recipes today, and we're using Southern ingredients and Southern techniques. All right, so zucchini bread, one of my all-time favorite quick breads, and there is a secret ingredient in this recipe, and I said, now y'all need to be thinking about what that ingredient might be. So I have no idea if you guessed it, but we'll talk about it in just a few minutes. So I've got my eggs beaten for this recipe. I'm gonna add in the sugar and just you know, you don't even have to use a mixer to make this recipe, just a good wire whisk and a good strong arm, and you are ready to go. All right, now I've got vegetable oil goes in next. And this is just a matter of getting everything blended together. And on the oil, certainly you want to take your time just a little bit, but you're trying to get it incorporated so you don't see any more of the actual oil in the recipe. Okay, my other ingredients on the counter are the zucchini, and I went ahead and got that grated with a box grater. You know, those things manage to stay in the cabinets no matter what. But that just works really well. You don't even have to peel the zucchini. Okay, so you see what I mean here about this. All of the oil is incorporated into that. All right, so now my dry ingredients. I have flour, and this is a major old school sifter that I'm working with here, but I still love it. So just get this flour in there. And it's just a great way to get all of your dry ingredients incorporated. So we have that. We have baking soda, baking powder, cinnamon, and salt. And now we're just going to sift that, and that incorporates all of these dry ingredients. And so, you know, techniques in terms of Southern, you know, I guess we in the South really love to say that we invented baking, you know, because it's just so much a part of our culture in the South. But using a sifter to get those ingredients incorporated together really works well. And then being able to have your wet and your dry going in together is also a technique that's part of baking and doing it correctly. All right, so now I'm gonna add my dry to my wet, and just look how fluffy those dry ingredients are. And we're just gonna basically fold this together. So on a quick bread, you don't wanna overmix. So I'm gonna get that slightly incorporated and then add in my other ingredients. So there's the shredded zucchini, and actually this was one zucchini made exactly 2 cups. My vanilla extract. This recipe actually calls for walnuts, and we will incorporate all of that. And then drum roll, what is that secret ingredient? It is lavender bulbs. Just look at that. And you know, we love it as an aroma in our home, but wait until you taste it in this bread. So we're gonna just get this mixed together. I went ahead and sprayed my 2 loaf pans. They're ready to go. My oven is preheated. So I'll get this done during the break. In Vera's Corner today, I'm gonna give you some more tips about brunch and that way of entertaining. And then we will get started on the Southern brunch pastry puff with sausage. So come back with me in just a few minutes. Vera's Corner is brought to you by TaxSlayer. Is it your turn to entertain and you just don't know where to begin? Well, let me suggest a brunch. You know, it's economical. You can get very creative with the menu. It's really a lot of fun. So here's some tips on how to get started. There's something for everyone on a brunch menu. From French toast to quiche, brunch doesn't necessarily call for meat, which makes it easier to accommodate vegetarian guests. A brunch menu is affordable. The types of foods, pastries, cobblers, eggs, pancakes, and waffles can be creatively presented and are everyone's favorite. Making more than enough for your guests will not break the budget. Because brunch is a more casual than normal event, this allows for foods that can be easily eaten with a fork, meaning you don't necessarily have to provide seating for all. Every chair, place setting, and tablecloth adds to the overall cost, so this is helpful. A brunch wedding means a morning wedding or one at high noon. A morning wedding is unique and opens up possibilities for wedding attire and decor. High noon is the most formal, but if the priority is beautiful flowers and other decor, then simply served menus keeps you on track. Finally, a brunch event makes for gorgeous photos. Consider brunch for your next event. Start free today at TaxSlayer.com. Welcome back, everybody, and I hope you enjoyed Vera's Corner. You know, brunch is such a fun way to entertain. I know for all of our grandchildren, we've done brunch. After grandchildren have been christened, I've done it for wedding parties. You know, as a newlywed, if we wanted to have a bunch of people over on Sunday after church, it was just a great way to entertain. It's so economical. It's also just kind of, you know, a fun and exciting way to socialize because you don't have to all sit down at once. It can be done as a buffet. So I certainly hope you'll enjoy some of these recipes. As I said, the first two that we made today are going to be in the next cookbook, and then all of the recipes will be available on our website at VeryVera.com. All right, so we are partnering today with Sunset Farm Sausage out of Valdosta, Georgia, and this sausage is just delicious. And we've been partners for a number of years, so hopefully you've tried it, but if not, be sure to go to their website. So we had a few things that we had to do in advance. You know, southern ingredients, we had grits today. So I used a 5-minute quick grit to make this recipe. You boil the water, you slowly add the grits. Then once it's cooked for 5 minutes, it's nice and thick, then you're gonna add in your cheddar cheese, your butter, your pesto, salt and pepper, and just combine that together. And good gracious, the smell of just that, you're gonna wanna make the grits even if you don't do the rest of this recipe. All right, then we took the Sunset Farm sausage, and this is their applewood sausage. Comes in links, it's already smoked, so it's fully cooked. We chopped up some red pepper, put that in the pan, then we added the Sunset Farm sausage, but I wanted to grind it up. So we just cut it into little pieces, put it in the food processor, and turned it into ground sausage. Then this particular recipe said to add the beaten eggs into this mixture while it was warm. But you know, I tweaked it. You know, I'm always gonna put a twist on a recipe. I thought, if we're gonna have scrambled eggs in a dish, I wanna see them. So I lightly scrambled the eggs so that you know there are eggs in this. And I'm just gonna add this now to the sausage mixture. And I'm just gonna mix that in. And you see what I mean? Now you can just fold that together. So don't, you know, hesitate to try to put your own twist to recipes. A lot of times if I make something new, I will tweak it after I've eaten it the first time just to get it right. But now you've got that beautiful yellow look. All right, so let's start assembling this. This is Pepperidge Farm puff pastry in the frozen food sections. It's a long box, easy to find. I've just unfolded that. It's folded into thirds when you get it. If you need to roll it out with a rolling pin just to get it, you know, held together, that's fine. So we're gonna take half of this grits mixture and we're gonna spread it all over one sheet of this puff pastry. Now I'm just gonna take my spatula, and you can do this immediately after you've done the grits, but honestly, if you let them cool down just a little bit, it's a lot easier to spread. than if they're piping hot. They have a tendency to move around a little bit. You're gonna leave about a 1/2 inch edge on your, on all sides. Just take a minute, make sure you've spread it evenly. And like I said, the pesto part of this with the red pepper and that applewood sausage is so good. All right, so now I'm gonna take half of this mixture, give it one more little stir, and we're gonna put that in the center of half of this puff pastry, because we're gonna fold it over. Okay, so that looks about right. Now, I'm gonna flip this, hopefully successfully. And you could actually use your parchment paper to go over. That makes it a little bit easier. Alrighty, now just get your edges together. Now I'm gonna take a fork and I'm just gonna crimp the edges to hold all of that in place. And once this bakes, it's gonna be a pretty golden brown. I've got an egg wash of egg and water that I'm gonna put on the top. It'll make it that golden crispy. And I made 2 ahead, so we're gonna have plenty today for our presentation. So I'll get this popped in the oven, and when we come back from the break, we're gonna lay out this pretty brunch. I'm gonna make a champagne cocktail with a fancy rim, so you don't wanna miss any of this. So come back with me in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody. And I think you've probably figured out by now that brunch is one of my favorite ways to entertain. It's economical, everybody loves it. You can't go wrong with food choices at this time of the day. And it's just one of those things where maybe everybody doesn't stick around forever, and you've really had a wonderful time. It's great after church, for any special occasion. I love to do it around Mother's Day. So let's go back through some of the recipes that we made today. We started with the stuffed French toast. It just bakes up beautifully. That's a 9 by 13 pan. But one of the things that we did to go with this is a delicious apple cider syrup. So it's really easy to make. And again, our recipes are on the website at VeryVera.com, but it's sugar and cinnamon and apple cider, butter, fresh squeezed lemon juice. Heat that up, let it come to a boil. It gets nice and thick. And you can use that for other things as well. So please try that recipe. All right, then we went to the zucchini bread, and this had the secret ingredient lavender in it. This just slices up really beautifully. It freezes well. This time of year, if you're looking for things just to have in the freezer to take, if someone's been sick or you need to do something nice for a friend or coworker, I highly recommend that. It's delicious. Then the Sunset Farms sausage, the applewood smoked sausage that was in our Southern Puff pastry, had the grits in it with the pesto. It just baked up beautifully, and you just cut it into little strips. Love the way that turned out. But our friends at Sunset Farms have been around since 1918. They're from Valdosta, Georgia. It's a hard-working family business. They've won the Flavor of Georgia contest from the University of Georgia. They've done so well, and I highly recommend that you also go to their website, see what they have to offer there, and order from them as well. So, just using little salad plates that you can serve all of this on, and I'll pour some of that syrup on the French toast. Grab one of the puffs to go on it. That really works out well. So our simmering champagne cocktail that we made with our Run Amok products today is so beautiful. We rimmed the glass with Jolly Ranchers. You just dip the glass in corn syrup. Then you've crushed the Jolly Ranchers. It really makes a festive look. And the recipe comes with the product when you order it. But it's basically a teaspoon of their sparkle syrup. You've got 3 dashes of their maple bitters. We recommend using a dry champagne in that. Just a beautiful cocktail, really nice nice for this time of the day. All right, so we are celebrating the launch of the next cookbook, and I'm so excited. You know, 5 years ago we launched the first cookbook, the VeryVera cookbook, Recipes from My Table. This will have a similar style. It's the VeryVera cookbook, Occasions. And this encompasses everything that I've done for 39 years in my catering business and with my family. We've worked on this for over 2.5 years. Peter Frank Edwards is our photographer again. We have Story Farm Publishing that did that. The book will be available starting as soon as this show is over on our website at VeryVera.com. We hope you will pre-order. I want to also mention that Kat McCall is our illustrator. She did some of the beautiful brunch cards for us today to highlight. So please check it out at VeryVera.com. I'm excited about my pre-order, and I can't wait to hear your comments about the book. So remember, no matter what you do, do it in good taste. I hope you'll come back again next weekend. We've got another great show. See you then.